Welcome to the new FX Replay Traders Dashboard. So here is where you're going to get information about what really matters, your inputs, the effort that you're putting in, and the things that you can control. And ultimately, if you stay consistent in these things, that's what's going to make you better in the long run. And so we really wanted to incentivize that, really wanted to make you feel in control of your journey, of your trading journey. And so we added a few things that I would absolutely love to go through here. So firstly is going to be that streak. Seeing that streak and not wanting to break it has been proven to be very, very valuable from a psychological level. And so when in regards to goal attainment and everything like that. So we really wanted to include that for you so we can keep you consistent with what matters, and what matters is your testing, doing the iterations, completing them over and over and over again, and getting better. Additionally, the time invested. How many hours are you spending in FX Replay actually testing? That's that number right there. Historical time replayed, that's going to be the number of all of the historical date, all the historical time that you've skipped through, right? Through all of your testing period that you've all tested through. So in this account, for example, I've tested for 3 months of historical data. And so that can keep me accountable as well as my time invested. Additionally, is the trades taken. You can get to see how many across your whole account are buys and sells and so on and so forth. And same with the win rate. Then the next area is the time invested per day. So this is a really, really cool chart because you're going to start to be able to see how many minutes and how much time you're spending on a daily basis, right? Keeping yourself accountable again and trying to be consistent. It's not about having one big bar one day and then one small one the next day. It's having a nice, consistent routine, getting in the reps, getting in the learning, and then going from there. The next is the win rate by day. So this is really cool because you're going to be able to see, what win rate you have in that session that you just tested. So this is real time, right? The 31st is today. And ideally, this keeps you accountable to not doing and making stupid decisions while you're testing, because sometimes you just want to go in there and just spam buys and sells and whatever and waste time. But this will keep you accountable and make sure that you're testing properly. If you're testing your strategies properly, you should have a pretty consistent win rate across. Obviously, it's gonna bounce up and down a little bit, but it shouldn't vary so crazily, right? And you can see it over time to see if it's increasing. So that's really cool too. Then finally is the trades by symbol. So you're going to be seeing which symbols you're trading the most on and how many trades are you taking on each of those symbols. It'll just give you a great idea of which assets your attention is focused on. Now that we can scroll down, you can see that we have the create new session button right here, and then some recent sessions that you have here. We can go into these sessions as well, but just by jumping down into here, viewing the summary, and this will take us to our sessions tab just by clicking view summary, but you get a little nice short summary right here, and we can go down just like that to check out any other one there. And if we want to start our session, all we have to do is just click this blue button here, or we can go to our summary first and then click into our session. Let's quickly set up a strategy. So what you're going to have to do is go into the strategies tab right here, click create new strategy, we'll give it a name, and we'll enter a description. Once we're done that, we can click create. We have a strategy right here. So from here, what you can do with your strategy is go into the analytics, or you can just wait and look at the win rate as you start to populate with trades. You can see that there's currently 0 trades, so there's nothing available here. So when your strategy area is populated, you're going to start to see your win rate, your risk to reward on that strategy, and the total trades that you've taken, which you can further analyze by going into the analytics page. So this is what it's going to look like. So make sure you take some trades and populate your strategy so you can understand how they are working. Let's set up a checklist. So the purpose of the checklist is so that you stick to your strategy with the very specific rules that you set. So these are very important. Make sure you set one up. All you have to do is come to the checklist section here, go to create new checklist, and we can name our checklist, and we can add some checklist items. Once you have your checklist items, you can determine or check on whether they're required or not. If they're required, that means they absolutely have to be checked off before you can journal a trade. So this is very important. It keeps you very disciplined, and it keeps you sticking to your strategy, which is ultimately the goal, because you want to make sure that your practice is of high quality as opposed to just taking random things here and there. So we can click create, and there you go. You have your checklist set up. If you want to create more, simply just click here and you can create another one. Let's jump into our account settings. So firstly, you're going to see it right down here by clicking the account settings right here. You're going to see this beginning tab here, which is going to be the profile tab, where you'll be able to change your profile photo, your name, your password, etc., etc. You'll be able to log out here as well. If you want, you can go to the next one, which is the subscription. So you can upgrade or downgrade or cancel, or you can even compare your plans right here. So whatever it is that you want to be doing, you can go into the subscription tab. If you want to get into your back testing, you can enable replay. Obviously, this one is the beginner tier, so you're going to have restrictions. We have them available right here to edit. You can turn on your go-to feature. Also, you can look at turning on your ask line, which is going to be able to see your spreads on the chart. Essentially, that's what it's going to be. You can create a different color, whatever you'd like, just by clicking right there. So that's what we have for the backtesting section. Let's go into the journal tab right here. And so journals, you'll be able to create your journal template. All you have to do is open it up here. This is my template that I just created. I would click create, and there we go. I would have that template that I can import into my journals. Right here is the global tag feature. So if you want to add tags to your journal, you can have all of your tags here that you want to access. And then within your journal, you'll be able to select which ones are meaningful or important to the trade, the specific trade that was taken. So we could say, here's a tag right here. We click add, and you'll see, there we go. There's our tag created. Next up is going to be the spreads and commissions tab. So you can see Euro USD. We have the spread of 0.1 pips there, and then commissions. If you have any questions, just simply hover over these eye icons and you'll be good to go. If we want to add another one, all we have to do is say, for example, go here. We add our spreads and let's say our commissions right here. Click add asset, and there we go. We have it all set up. So this is your account settings section. Go check it out, set it up, and make sure that you have all of your global settings set up for success for your testing. Now let's set up a session. So first we're going to go into our dashboard here, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to go into our recent sessions here and create new session just by clicking this button. And first, we have a quick session and we have an advanced session. We'll dive into both of those, but first let's just start off with the quick session. So we're going to start off by naming our session. We're going to add our balance and the assets that we're going to want to trade. In this case, I'll add ES and NQ. And so we're going to have a ton of assets coming out. And so just be on the lookout for that. You'll have everything that you need if you're a futures trader, if you're a Forex trader. And in the future, we're going to have a lot more asset classes available for you. We have cryptos as well and some other things. So we'll be able to incorporate all of those in the future. But as of right now, we have those, and we can select our date. We can either skip or just say, hey, we want to test this one day, this 1 week, or this 1 month. And if you want to add more, you just click, so 1 extra day, 1 extra week, or 1 extra month. We can't do any more right now because the max is the October 29th, and right now is the 29th, right? So we can't skip forward any more than that. Now that's going to be the quick session here. The next is going to be the advanced session. So you click right here, and we'll have a little bit more information. So we're going to have our strategy and a description. We'll have our account balance and assets. We'll also have our new spreads and commissions feature, which you'll be able to click on right here. And these should be brought in from your account settings, your global settings. So that's going to be really, really good. And if you want, you can just update them right here as well, just to say, hey, I want them to be like this and like this. And so the way that our spreads and commissions will work is that every time you enter a trade, this is going to be the commission in dollars per contract if you're talking about futures, or per lot if you're talking about Forex. And so that's what it's going to be. And it's going to be executed, or you're going to absorb that cost as soon as you enter the trade. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. And then you can go next from there. You select your dates. And then if you want, you can smooth candles. And smoothing candles is basically just getting rid of all the gaps. I prefer to leave it off, but there's a lot of people that really like to have that on. And there we go. We create the session. And we have the session there. If you want to go check it out, you can pull this down, and we can either go to the chart here, or we can go into our sessions tab, and we can go to our FX replay walkthrough, and boom, here it is. So we don't have any data yet, but we can start to populate it just by going into click go to chart, and that'll take us to the chart to start backtesting. So we're in our chart, we're ready to test with FX replay. Let's go through everything that we have in this area so that you can test a little bit more efficiently, a little bit better, and optimize your trading. So let's start off with this top menu here. First off is our go-to feature. It's an amazing, amazing feature. If I want to skip to a specific session, I can go to skip to New York session, and there we go. Every day, I'm able to skip to my specific session and be that much more efficient with my testing. So if I want to go into it, I can go into custom settings and say I want to skip into the next silver bullet according to ICT times, the next news event, the next price. All I have to do is just highlight them like so, and they will pop up in my feed. So if I go down here, you'll be able to see them now in here. Okay, so that is the go-to feature. Really, really amazing. Next is the economic calendar. What we have here is you click that there. We have the filters. So say we're just looking at the US dollar. Let's click that, and there we go. So now the economic calendar will pop up right here. We could open this up and just show them on our chart by clicking the past and future, and there you go. They'll be popping up on our chart there. If you want one or the other, you could just select them. If you want the news impact, you could select those, and there we go. So we have next the buy and sell right here. So if you click that, what it's going to do is it's just going to hide the quick buy and sell order position here, just so then you can have more screen real estate. And speaking of screen real estate, we can expand our chart and we're going to have everything here. We really wanted to preserve as much screen real estate as possible, so then you can, focus on your testing and have a really good experience with that. So if we do both, you could see we hide everything and you have really a lot of space to work with. Now, we're obviously using TradingView, which is this beautiful, beautiful chart that we have going on here. But there's a couple things that you should know when setting up your session and when you're going into your charts. Firstly, you're going to want to save a session here, okay? So you're going to want to save a layout. If you don't have one already, make sure you do that, because if you don't do that, nothing is going to save. And so every time you come into a session, you're going to have a brand new layout and nothing is going to save properly. So please, please, please make sure that you save your layout before you get started. Next up is going to be the indicators. Okay, so anytime you want indicators made by us, you type in FX and you see all the ones by FX Replay here. These are all the custom indicators that we've built for you all. So keep an eye on those. And then we also have all of the TradingView, standard TradingView indicators here that you guys can check out as well. So the next thing that we have on the list here is the time frames. So you have our time frames right here. We can go into our interval and you'll be able to see the seconds time frame. So seconds we have for futures assets, and we will eventually be rolling out for Forex assets as well, Forex pairs. So keep an eye on that. Additionally, we have our symbol search right here. And so if you have enabled multi-pair or multi-asset in the beginning when creating a session, you'll be able to go in here to find them. So right now we have ES and NQ in the same area. We can actually expand our charts like so and have NASDAQ on one, and we can have ES on the other one like that. So there you go. So we have NASDAQ here, ES here. We could trade them just like real time. And if I'm going on the 5 second, for example, and speeding it up, you'll be able to see both of them loading as if it were like real life. And now speaking of skipping forward, what we have is the candle control modal right here. So we have the speed at which we can crank it, and we can skip forward just by playing it. And so we can play it essentially like real life, giving it that real life experience. We can select the time frame that we want to skip by. Okay, we can skip by it just manually right here. And if we want to sync it to the time frame that we're currently on, so hourly, all we have to do is just select this. So every time I change time frame, it's going to automatically adjust when it skips. Okay, so these are very, very important. Now let's take a position in FX Replay. So there's 2 ways to do this. We can use a quick buy and sell, or we can use our long position or short position tool. Let's start off with this one, as it's the most popular way to enter a trade right now. And so what we could do is just put it on the chart just like so. And what we can do is make sure that it's selected, click place order, and it's going to automatically put all your values. And all you have to do is just quickly adjust the risk just like so, and you're good to go. Now, you could either just save that and lock that position in, or we could save in journal. Our journal is going to pop up here. We could end up taking screenshots right here. We can add any checklists that we potentially have made before, so we can make sure we're checking it off. We could add specific tags to see what that was. We could add our confidence interval. We can add the rating of that trade, and we can add a little description of what's going on and save that if we would like. And you'll be able to see all of your log trades in here. So after I locked in a trade, after I skipped forward and I can see, hey, I'm in profit, I can actually close out part of my position right here by clicking on that X. We could say 50% of whatever is remaining on the position, or we could use the original position. So say, for example, if I risked 2 contracts and I use the original position, I can take off 50%. That would take off 1 contract, and then I could do that again. It would take off another contract, and I would be done. The use left amount on position is going to be what's remaining. And so I could continuously take off 50%, 50%, 50% of what's remaining of the contracts after I take partials. So I could take off 50%, close it. You can see 50% is taken off. I can move my stop up to break even just like so. And now I can finish out the position by skipping forward and seeing if it's going to hit my take profit or break even. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to go into the open positions tab. So you just click back up there, go into your open positions. And right here, if I click this open, I can see my journal. I could edit the position, so I can make sure to adjust my stop loss and everything just like that. I can actually go to my positions close, so I can skip forward to when this position will close, so then I don't even have to watch it as it goes. I can hide the lines on my chart so I can keep on trading, or I could just close the position directly from here. So let's go to position close, and there you go. So it's going to skip to when this position is closed, either take profit or stop loss. And if I open back up my journal, what you'll be able to see here is you'll be able to see it updated with the day of the trade and the result of the trade. I can go back in and edit just by going into here, and I'll be able to see everything right there. So that's how we take one position with the open or the long and short tool. Now, what we could do is go into a position that's going to be based off of our quick buy and sell. So our quick buy and sell is very, very easy to use. All you have to do is say, for example, we're going long right here. We can do 2 contracts like so, and we can say buy. There we go. We're in the trade. All we have to do is come into here if we want to edit. And so say, for example, we want to put our stop loss at 15,240 and our take profit at 15,4. Then we just do it like that. You'll see we have our ticks there, save, and we have it entered into the position, and there we go. And what we can do again is go back into our open position and just let's go to the close. So there we go. It skips right forward to the close of this position, and we profited there. Now, I also wanted to bring up that in this case, in this session, you can see the ask line there, that red line right at 15,402. What that is my spread, right? So it's showing me my spread. This is where it's going to execute any long position and so on and so forth, or how I'm going to get stopped out if I have a short position. That's what it's going to get stopped by. So if you want to see that spread on your chart, all you have to do is go to your account settings. You go to backtesting and you go to show ask line, and I can change this color up right here. So say, for example, we'll put it green just so you can see the difference. And now I can go back into my session and you're going to be able to see the ask line on the chart. So now that I'm back on the chart, you can see that the ask line switched up, and you can see that it is at 15,396, and you can see it is green and completely different colored, and I skipped forward by 1 minute. That's why it's at a different price. Now you can see it. And if you want to adjust your spreads and commissions, all you have to do is go back into your session settings like so, go to spreads and commissions and adjust them right here. So now let's jump into our closed positions tabs. What we're going to do is just bring this up here, go into closed position, and now we can start to look at and assess our closed positions on the chart. So one of the cool things that we have here is just to be able to show them on the chart. You're going to be able to see all of the positions that you've taken in the past, either shown as a drawing tool or as arrows. Okay, so whatever one that you want, you click that on right there. If you want to take it off, or we can leave it on like that, and I want to go back to a very specific trade, I can actually go and click this right here. And there we go. It's going to show me and bring me back right to that trade, right where I just clicked right there. I can see what the commissions that I've accumulated on a per trade basis. I can also go back into journaling that specific trade, and I can take screenshots of that trade and so on and so forth, save it, and move forward from that as well. I do want to note that if you do want to go back in time while you're backtesting, you do have to enable replay mode right here. The reason why we made it so that you have to enable replay mode is because we really want to disincentivize cheating yourself, taking trades that, hey, you weren't going to take this before, but you saw it play out and then you go back. And we know that obviously sometimes mistakes happen and you skip forward, which is why we wanted to add it. But we wanted to make sure that you have to turn it on first. And so that's why if you go into account settings, you turn on replay. If I go back into my session, go to chart, and now what I could do is just simply go back to a prior date. So say, for example, right here, I could right click, replay to this date, yes, proceed, and there we go. We have a replay back to that time. Now that's it for the backtesting session. Let's go ahead and jump into the analytics. This is our brand new analytics page, and it all starts out with the filters. So now with the new version of FX Replay, you're going to be able to filter out all of your data with these filters up here, from assets to the side of the trade that you're on, the tags, and so on and so forth, all the way down to the backtesting date. So this is really helpful and informative in your trading. If you want to understand, how do I perform on the longs only, I can just filter it like this, and there we go. We'll be able to see how we're doing on longs, what our equity curve looks like. So we can filter down the line here and make sure that the analytics are exactly what we want to know, and we can get really, really good information from our strategy. Next up is exporting. When you want to export your data, you click this button up here. Now I want to say before you do that, make sure the time zone that you're in is in the date structure that you would like, whether it be America or European, because when you click export, the CSV will be structured in either US date structure or European date structure. So ensure that you do that before exporting. Next, let's take a look at the P&L. So here in this chart, you're going to be able to get everything that you need: your total P&L, your account balance, the win rate, the total trades, and your break-even trades. You'll be able to adjust how many break-even trades based off of your break-even threshold. So essentially what this means is that if I put in 0.1 here, that means all the trades that went 0.1 R, either in profit or loss, and got stopped out in that level, are going to be considered break-even trades. So if I submit right there to 7, right? And so that's how the break-even threshold works. And so you can really just optimize and understand what your actual win rate is, given that you're not always going to get stopped out right at 0. Right. And that's what it's basically accounting for when it's just like this. So this gives a little bit of margin for you to assess your break-even trades and understand, what is actually considered break-even in your trading strategy. When we actually look at our chart, when you hover over here, there's going to be two areas. So there's going to be the running P&L and the closed P&L. Basically, if you have a position running that's open that hasn't been closed, the running P&L will fluctuate and the closed P&L will just stay the same. And so there'll be two lines on the chart when you have a running trade going. So just be aware of that. But when everything's all closed, you'll just have one line showing you exactly what the closed P&L is. And you can also look at this P&L, not just from a full account history perspective, but you can also just look at it at the daily perspective, and you can understand from a daily perspective, how is it looking? And typically this is what you want to be seeing, right? You want to be seeing your account really hitting in between the same levels all the time, because that just shows consistency in your strategy. You're winning the same, you're losing the same. When you have big spikes one way or the other, unless you got a nice big win, which can happen sometimes, but the big losses should be avoided. So you can look at a couple of your losses and these big peaks and say, okay, maybe I need to make sure I stick to my total loss rule. Okay. And so you can see I do here, this is the typical loss, but then I take some really big losses over here. So maybe this is something that I have to improve as a trader. So that's basically the profit and loss chart, and that's how you can use it to your benefit. In the next section here, we have the average RR, max RR, and ideal average, and could have profit break even. So these are really, really important numbers. And so we can dive into them right now just a little bit. Okay. So the average RR is obviously, we know that one is the average risk to reward that you've taken on all of your trades on your account so far. What the max will do is look at your trades and understand the biggest of those RRs that you've taken. What's the biggest trade in risk to reward that you've taken? The ideal average is very, very important. And what this is it's looking in the future, basically. It's taking your trades, it's going out a couple weeks in the future, and it's looking, what would the ideal average RR be? And you can see here that it's 5.46. And my actual ideal, the max, was 28. So it looked ahead a couple weeks to see what did this trade actually end up running to. And the maximum that all of my trades ran to was 28R. Now, this can be used because you can look at my current average RR and I look at my ideal average and I can say, there's a pretty big discrepancy between the two. Maybe it's indicative that I should be holding my trades longer. And so I can start to try to use a higher risk reward strategy into my setups, because clearly the average is actually much higher than just 1.2 or 8.2. So we can use that to our advantage. The next area is going to be the could have profit or break even. So basically this is any trade that has been 1.5R in profit and then went down to be a loss. And so this shows you right here that I could have avoided 10 trades that went 1.5R in profit and then ended up being a loss. So I could have preserved capital. This would have been a great opportunity to save losses and add to my equity. And so the max ideal is going to be very similar. It's just going to be for the could have profit / break even trades. Then we have our winners and losers section. So again, it's just really showing you the difference between your winners and your losers, your best win, average duration, and same thing for your losses. Now, one of the ones that's really important that I absolutely love to use is going to be your max consecutive wins and average consecutive wins, and same on the loss side. On the loss side, it's actually more important, because what you can do with your max consecutive losses is say, take this number and say, okay, if I risk 1% or say $1,000 every time I lose, am I willing to lose $5,000? Because that's my max consecutive loss. Like that can really happen to me, right? And so I have to be okay with this number and losing that many times. And if I'm not okay, then I have to create a risk strategy, a risk management strategy that allows me to use this number and work backwards and say, if I lose this much, if this many times in a row, what number am I okay with losing? And then use that as my risk management strategy. Okay. So this is a really important number. You can get a lot of value out of that. Okay. Now let's jump into the performance. Firstly, we have the performance by side. So this is obviously the total trades you've taken on the sell side, total trades you've taken on the buy side, and then your win rate on those. So if I hover over them, you can see that the sells, I've won 51% of my sells and I've won 56% of my buys. So that's great there. We can then look at the session. So how am I performing by session? You can hover over and start to see what's my win rate per session, what are my total trades taken per session, and so on and so forth across this session analysis. Next, you'll be looking at your performance by time. So when I look at my performance by time, I'm looking across here and I'm trying to understand which hours of my day am I profitable, which hours of my day should I avoid trading so I can reclaim that capital and continue trading with the most optimal strategy that I can, right? Based off of my strategy and my statistics. And so you want to make sure though, that when you scroll up here, you want to make sure that your time zone it matches the time zone that you're in. So for example, this is not my time zone. What I want to do is I want to go into here and I want to change it to Toronto. So now you can see this is more accurate, right? I trade New York session primarily and a little bit of PM session here. And so I was able to take majority of my trades here and I can understand which hours I should trade and which ones I shouldn't. You can see that there's a couple hours here, shouldn't even be trading, shouldn't be trading. And so we can get rid of those completely. But this really helps. If you want to see it in regards to risk to reward, you can just use it like this and hover over. And if you want to see it for percent profit, you can just see your percent profits right there rather than dollar profit. Okay. So that's that right there. Next is going to be the performance by day. You want to make sure that you're taking away the days that you're losing the most, taking away the days that are unprofitable. So in this case, actually all my days are profitable. And so that's okay. I should just continue trading all of the days. But if I find that my strategy has, Fridays are really big losing days, well, then maybe I should just completely take out Friday out of my trading and go from there. Also, if I have a really positive day, maybe that's a day that I should increase risk because it's clearly working with my strategy. Then we can go into the performance by month. So performance by month, exactly how it sounds. You can see your performance on a monthly basis and understand your total return at the year to date and total return after all the years that you've tested. You can assess this based off of your current balance or your initial balance. Okay, so if it's compounding based off of your current balance, that's great. If you want to just keep it off of your initial balance, then you can do that as well. So we have those options for you depending on what it is that you're looking to do. And if you're a prop firm trader versus you have your personal capital and so on and so forth. Okay. Finally is the performance calendar. So this is a really, really cool feature that we added, which is just your calendar, being able to see how the calendar looks and how it is viewed on a monthly perspective and also on a yearly. You can start to understand your yearly performance just like that. You can look at it, the dollar profit, the percent profit, or risk to reward, depending on however it is that you want. And you can also change it from initial balance to current balance or whatever one that you want, whatever one that you need for your trading strategy specifically. Now, finally is the Monte Carlo simulation. This is one of my favorite tools that we have at FX Replay. And all it is this. We'll put in the number of simulations that we're going to run. Let's run 10. And let's put in 100 trades or 200 trades rather per simulation. And so what it's going to do, it's going to take 200 trades and it's going to do that one time and then another time and another time until it reaches 10 simulations. And it's going to predict your equity curve based off of the probabilities of your trade. So you can see that the probabilities of my trade are going to be based off of the fact that I have a 54% win rate, that my average gain is this and my average loss is this. And then it's going to compute that and show me simulations. So you can see here that I have one low simulation here, one high simulation there, and then we're going to average that out typically and get the more likely scenario that's going to happen, which is around 289 balance or almost two profit factor, meaning 2 times my account. Okay, so that's the likely scenario that we're going to be getting there. And you can see here that I absolutely love. You can keep running it. You're going to get different results every time because that's the nature of probabilities. But you can see that they're very consistent. They look very similar, right? They don't deviate too much. Now, that's really, really awesome. And we can use a lot of these numbers here, like the max consecutive wins, again, max consecutive losses, to understand over the course of 2,000 trades, what am I typically likely to hit? And again, look at 11 consecutive losses. Imagine being on a losing streak of 11 trades. Are you okay with that? Does your risk strategy handle that? And so you have to find ways that you are okay with managing during these times, because based off the probabilities, it can happen, right? So be cognizant of that, plan your risk accordingly, and use this tool to help you understand that and kind of give you hope of, hey, if I stick to my strategy for, X many trades, like this is what my account balance is likely to be around. It gives you that motivation to stick to your rules, because sometimes as a trader, it's very difficult to stick to the rules according to what you have laid out. Sometimes it's easy to give into temptation and easy to try and force things. And so it's really important that you focus on your rules, you stick to it, and have this future outlook of what you can achieve. So that is it for the analytics. This is the new FX Replay Journal section right here. Just go into this tab right here. And what you'll see is all of your trades listed out in one area that you can go in and investigate. So let's start off at the top with the new filters. So you'll be able to understand and filter by asset, by side, either long or short, the tags that you've used previously to assess those journals, the session that you've created in your sessions tab, and the backtesting date. So you could apply any of those filters and it will filter out everything for you, so you can assess only the trades that you're genuinely interested in learning from. There's that there. Next, we can go into actually opening up the journal entry. So if we open it up here, you'll see this come back out here. You'll have your notes, you'll have your details, your confidence level, your trade rating, and your gallery. So you'll be able to open up your screenshots here and assess your trade to study them. We also have the tags up here that you could have. And if you really want to go and edit them, because you can't edit anything right here, if you click this button, the journal entry will pop up and you can come in and add whatever you want. So say, for example, we want to add a tag and we want to add a checklist, 1, 2, 3, and there we go. We could save that. And now we'll have our calendar there if we ever want to go back in. But if I go back into here, you'll see we have our checklist, we have our gallery, we have our tags up here. We have everything that we need all right here. So that is the journal section. We will continue to develop the journal. This is something that we are really passionate about. We are working on in the background. We want to create a journal that you can import all of your live trades, everything in the future, and you'll be able to assess all of your data and compare it between your backtesting and your real life data and get a better understanding of your trading as a whole. So that's planned for the future. We are working hard on it. So you can expect to have that in the coming quarters. So keep an eye out.